Hi, I'm Dan from Dan Mo's World. Today we're going to go over how to set up AN fittings with basic hand tools. So if you're new to the channel, this is my FC RX-7. We're going to be setting up some AN fittings and line for my turbo feed, which is going to come from this fitting here on the block and run over here to the turbo. Basically, I'm just going to show you how to set up AN fittings without using the AN wrench and cutters and everything that costs $1 million to get. So this is the RX-7. It's a big turbo setup. It's going to be a drift car with a V-mount setup. If you like what you see, please subscribe to check out some more videos of this awesome car. Let's get into it. So this is basically all you're going to need to set up your AN lines. You're going to need some adjustable wrenches, your hose and fittings obviously, some electrical tape, which comes in handy when cutting. I'll go over that in a little bit. And I use a high-speed cutoff wheel to cut the lines. Another thing that helps is to have a vise. If you don't have a vise, you could get away with using a C-clamp. I'll go over that in a second. That comes with setting up the fittings. I also like to wear some cut-resistant gloves, as the stuff from the factory has little strands on it that can jab you in the fingers. And usually where they cut it from the factory is pretty sloppy, so 9 times out of 10 you can't even get the fitting on it. As you can see there, it's too big. So what I'm going to have to do is cut it and start with a fresh section. So the key to doing that is you want to take your electrical tape and wrap it around the hose as tightly as you can where you want to make your cut. So you get your hose, you get your piece of electrical tape here, start it on there, and make sure you wrap it pretty tight when you go around. You want some good tension on the hose. And I usually go around like 3 or 4 times. So like I said, you don't need a vise to do this, but it does help. So I like to put the hose in the vise. And I get back on my cut resistant gloves. I take my high speed here. And what I'll do is I'll grab a hold of this, get some tension on it outwardly, and I'll cut it in the middle of where the tape is. And the whole objective here is to not kind of sit on the tube and burn it in with the heat from the wheel cutting through the friction. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and cut through it pretty quickly. So basically what you have to do is your fittings will come screwed in like this. What you want to do is screw off the hose cap, is what I'll call it. You want to slide that end over the hose first. Sometimes it's a pain because you got to squeeze it in there. Okay, so once you have that collar pushed in all the way, you should see it. I'm trying. So once you have that collar pushed in all the way, you can tell it is when you see that hose bottomed out on the lip there. I know it's hard to film it, but it bottoms out on that lip. Then what you want to do is you want to take the other end of the AN fitting, insert it, and start tightening it. Now, when you start tightening it, you want to keep pressure on the hose because sometimes they might push out. So what I like to do is I grab the bottom with my 2 fingers here and kind of hold it, pushing up on it like that, and then just start threading that in. Then what I do is I bring it over to my vise. Now this is the part where if you don't have a vise, you can probably use a C-clamp to clamp the fitting to the end of the table. Now, I have aluminum blocks in here, so I don't really have to worry about taping that up, but if you really want your fitting to stay nice and anodized in the color it comes in, you could always wrap some painter's tape or electrical tape around it. So now, while I'm doing this, I want to grab the hose at the bottom of my vise and push up. I just take my wrench. You don't have to use an adjustable, you can use the right size wrench for it, but adjustable works just fine if you're good with it. And then you just want to spin it on as you're going. And you want to make sure your vise is tight enough. And once you got it snugged up, so you pull it out of the vise. And from here, you just want to get on it with 2 wrenches. And it's good and tight. That's done. And there's the line fully in and installed. One thing is you don't want to bend the line too much because it will kink, but little smooth bends like that are alright. So that's all there is to it. If you have any questions, please leave a comment down below. I'll be sure to answer as quickly as possible. And if you've never been on this channel before, please subscribe and check out some of our other videos. We do a lot of drifting, a lot of welding, a couple tutorials here and there sprinkled in. So check it out and leave a like if you found this video informational.